Now, some of you might automatically think that this video is just completely clickbait, but this is something that I have told people in the past and will continue to tell people, is that Bobby Fischer actually predicted completely the issues wrong with games in general, but most prominently, I should say, is the MMO RPGs in general, really. He had a problem with chess, and we're going to watch this little clip.
I hate chess. I know what chess is all about. It's all about memorization. It's all about prearrangement. Creativity is lower down on the list. It's ridiculous. It gets harder and harder and harder. You need more and more computers. You need more and more people working for you. Chess just the last few years has changed dramatically with all of this computer stuff. If you analyze chess objectively, it's been a lousy game. Now, let me explain something about Fischer Random. I never made any claims saying that this is perfect. It's much better than the old chess. But the point about Fischer Random is it's basically the same as the old chess, except you get rid of the theory, and it's very easy to remember the rules. There are a lot of games that you can come up with that have practical defects in terms of discouraging people to learn them, not creative defects. You can learn Fischer Random in 10 seconds. People think I'm anti-chess. No, I'm not anti-chess. I'm pro-chess. I'm trying to keep it alive. I hate chess.
So there you have it from his own mouth. The issue that we face today in a lot of MMOs and a lot of different video games is that everything is all mathed out. And then we take it further and further and further by adding mods and layers and layers and layers of software to analyze every single bit of how we play, how we think, memorization about these rules that we set up. And people like him used to take those rules and just bend them, because it's easy to do that when everyone has agreed and handshaked on how you're going to play a game. It's very easy to go in there and say, okay, well, I'm going to play it different, and no one's going to be able to respond to me, because clearly if everyone is on the same level and they're all agreeing to play a certain way, if I go in here and I play the game different, you get a different result. And one of the things that he did is, before he died, is he came up with that Fischer Random. Now, Fischer Random is basically a new way to play chess to keep it alive, because that's exactly what we're experiencing with MMOs now. Everyone says, when WoW Classic came out, the issue that was brought up on stage was, you think you want it, but you don't. And they said, no, we want it. But it's clear after a few years, everyone, not even after a few years, after a few months of playing, everyone agreed that there's nothing new in the game, and you're only playing it because you like, not because you like Classic, but because you hate regular WoW. You didn't play it because you really loved Classic. You played it because you missed Classic and you hate what you have now. And that, I just keep playing that over and over in my head. It's what this guy tried to tell everybody about chess is the same thing that's happening with most games. Basically, WoW, when Classic came out, everything's already mathed out. Everything's already as perfect as it can be. And it became sort of kind of like just a joke. There was people completing Ragnaros with like subpar, underleveled, not even a full group, barely geared out. It literally became a fucking joke to complete the content in Classic. And it's because we're just so far more advanced in everything that we know everything about the game. It's all completely mathed out, and it makes some of the best raiding guilds look like babies back then, when you could have just somebody, not even really high enough to be in there, could just complete the content with their friends. It's like, and then we move on to the fact that, hey, we're sitting here saying, well, we like Classic, but we want more. And they really want them to develop Classic more. It's because you're bored. you're fucking bored out of your mind because it's already been done. And all you can do when something's already been mathed out is to optimize. And optimization really isn't fun. It's fun for a select group of people, but that 10%, 20% that it's fun for, you have to think about like, okay, if only those 10 to 20% of people are left on the game playing, and then you get a dead server, and then there's no one for them to play against. I mean, how are you even going to be superior to another player if there are no other players? You know what I'm saying? So the problems that we're facing right now, he completely predicted in chess and talked about it all the time about how it's completely mathed out. And I think a lot of people will agree with this when they think about it because, we do the Season of Discovery, and now we're doing, the hardcore WoW to keep things interesting. You literally have to add a new game mode, which is what Fischer Random was, a new game mode to the old game just to say that I'm doing something, just to make it more interesting. And that's crazy that we have to jump through hoops like animals and just to make it interesting, but we can't be honest with ourselves and just say, hey, this is mathed out. We want something new. Now, the new in question is not the newest expansion of WoW or anything else, because we're all pretty tired of it. And game design philosophy has changed. I see us moving more closer to random dungeons. I mean, you look at Path of Exile, and you look at, I was going to say Diablo, but let's be honest. You look at games where they start to add random stuff like that, and they start to add up, and they give you infinite choice, and they're having to do that, and those games are extremely popular because we are creatures that always find a way to end up hurting ourselves. We always find a way to take something that is fun, pure, and exciting and make it horrible. And, that's what we do, right? Like, I can't even imagine us not doing that. We always will take something and make it competitive. We'll always take some. Look at speedrunning. And that's one of the things he also predicted is speedrunning is the quintessential jewel of like the embodiment of everything he hated. Being completely mathed out, being completely done over, being completely solidified. Eventually, what you have to understand about speedrunning is eventually there will be someone who can't be beat. It will be mathematically impossible to get better than them. And when that comes, what you have to realize is these speedrunners are actually victims of their own joy. Because once they hit that time and they can never be beaten again, they just made themselves obsolete. It's a thing where we eat ourselves, if that makes sense, as a society. And as gamers, we know this is true because we all have that friend who says that we're not playing the game right if we're just trying to have fun. We're not playing the game right. You're not playing the game right. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're not having fun unless you're mathing it out and making sure that every single talent point and every single thing is absolutely perfect. You can't possibly have just fun. And we're just creatures like that. And the problem is a lot of us fall into that ideology and we basically rip the fun out of things. But then you look at the games and you look at the market right now, and I'm telling you, if you're a game developer, this is solid advice. You should listen to this. The games that we're playing right now that we're really having fun with have very few things to do with competitive and more to do with random acts of people interacting with each other and having fun, pure fun. You know, when you're talking about, like, you look at something like Rust, and it combines those two groups of people perfectly. And what you get out of it is people telling stories about funny things that happened, and you get that atmosphere. And that's how a game like Rust survives. It says, hey, competitive people, you'll get what you want, but these guys will get what they want. They'll have stories. They'll, tell their friends funny things that happen naturally throughout the world, and interactions that you could not have predicted or made up. And then you just got to hope someone's recording to show everybody. But the reality is, when you look at kind of the games that are doing good, we're talking about 4-person co-op games and games with your friends and small localized fun that you're having with just random events and things like that. I think we're moving more toward trying to have fun again, and away from everything has to be this big challenge. Now, there is still games like Elden Ring, but I gotta be honest, most of the things that I see that are super popular is funny clips of, random stuff happening. It's not, you'll get your occasional guy dodges everything and gets to the end and doesn't die. And that is true, but more than not, you'll get people just genuinely having fun. And I think again, if you're a game designer, you should really look at that. You should look at the market. You should look at games like Lethal Company, and you should look at games that just take a group of people and put them in an environment and say, have fun. And I think that's where we're at right now. It's like, I think we have finally come to the realization that we do kind of rip the fun out of everything. And if you've got that friend in your friend group, you need to tell them to chill the fuck out. Have fun, or, fuck off. Because I think what we really need is to return to that. Now, if you're competitive, there are still games that are popular. There still are things to do. But when you look at stuff like Final Fantasy, and I think the reason that it's so popular is that it says, hey, look, we care about you having fun more than we care about you being the best. And so the rewards for being the best aren't necessarily what you would think they'd be. And the rewards for having fun seem to be far greater. And it shows in the players and the way they act and the way they treat people and the way that the community works. And I really do believe that Bobby Fischer kind of, in a way, predicted all of this. In all of the stuff he said, in all the stuff he did, he kind of predicted game theory, and actually the theory of the way games are made and mathed out. And I say game theory, but you know what I mean. He predicted it without knowing that he was doing it. The next, how many years it's been. I mean, it's incredible that this man was smart enough to look at chess, and that could be projected out onto the entire gaming landscape that we have now. People are desperately trying to move away from competitive and move toward, I just want to have fun again. Like, fuck, 10,000 hours of doing something stupid just to get this one thing. Now, I realize, yes, RuneScapers still exist, but I still think that even they are adding layers to the game to still make it interesting, and they are having fun in their own way. It is not about solely just grinding a 99. It is more about the achievements and the stories and the things like that. So if you like this video, I answer every comment. And if you really like this video, if you'd drop me a sub, I think that I'd appreciate that, and it'll go a long way. Thank you for watching.